Hello, and welcome back. Now, if you've been following along with the episodes, you'll know that the last one a little bit rough. So we managed to recover from that, and today is all about bumping things up a notch. Now, with that in mind, we had better start speeding things up a bit because I have a lot to cover, and not a lot of time to do it in, but there's not much happening here, so if I see anything happening, I'll point it out as I go. Now, as watch things just flying by here, we do actually have a plan today, so hoping to actually get bots set up in this episode, and want to expand the forestry a little bit, put in a little farm to try and support producing biofuel for the bots, and really moving a lot of our industry to the top right hand corner. I'm going to put a highlight over what I'm talking about here just to give you an idea. We have the bot production and industry in the yellow area. We also have a little zipline that I want to make our sort of base zipline. We have the small farm off to the right in the light green, and we have the forestry area in the dark green. This, I do believe, is really going to help us going forward, so let's see how we get on. In order to expand the forest area, I'm going to need explosives, so let's put back in at least one explosives factory. I'm going to continue working on the bad water area up here just to try and get this farm isolated a bit more from the pollution. Oh, another unstable core. And it's all the way up the top of the map here. This doesn't look like it should really affect us, as long as it doesn't overflow. Keep an eye on that. The next little bit was actually fairly uneventful, so I'm just going to speed up again. If you do prefer the more slower pace, just let me know down in the comments, and I'll know to do that in future episodes. As you can see at this bit, I decided to put in my first zipline base. And the idea here is I want to have this one on this side of the colony, and then have another one across the other side, and then put a little zipline pylon in the middle, just to allow traversal between one side and the other. Just to allow a little faster access here and there. I ended up placing another base in this spot, simply because I don't intend on actually putting up barriers to convert this into usable farmland. After that I didn't really do much, I just sort of potted about, so we'll just keep things going nice and fast here. Do have to apologise for all the shaky camera angles and all the moving about, but it's just to try and keep as transparent as possible. I want to keep showing you everything that's going on without just cutting here, there and everywhere. If you think it might be better having a balance between both cuts and speeding up, let me know. This is still like the first time I've actually done anything like this, so still a big learning experience, and really appreciate all your input. I ended up popping in on our triple lodge here just for a little extra population. I don't want to go too crazy all at once, and add some extra stairs on the other side just to allow better access. This core's about to go. Just quickly go across and make sure it's definitely not going to flood me out or anything silly. That's quite the flow of bad water. I've got my fingers crossed here that I am right and it's not going to bother. It looks okay from that angle, to be fair. But that is a lot of bad water. I'm kind of hoping that the designer hasn't included anything to actually make it end up flowing in at a later date. And it looks like it's just going to creep up to level there. It's looking okay so far. Should just stop at that level. because it's just running off the map at this side, so that's good. It's good news for me. I think we should be in the clear with this one. Not gonna lie, I was a little bit worried there. Well, back to business. So I didn't really do much for the rest of this session, because we're now kind of at a bit where I'm like between sessions, and I might as well just skip through this all and I'll be back in a moment. Welcome back. Now I know it's not been a very long time for you, but it's been 24 hours for me, and in that time I have decided I am going to focus on forestry first. I want to set up my little forestry area that I had planned. Now, I do want to use Naruto85's suggestion from an earlier video. They suggested that it was a good idea to actually use water dumps. So that's what I'm going to do in that area. I'm going to focus on getting explosives together. Then I'm going to sort of clear out the area that's the water's going to sit in. And we'll go from there. Kind of just spent some time just sort of going over my head what I was planning on doing and just randomly rambling away to myself. Unfortunately, audio quality is still not very good in these early episodes, and it only starts to improve hopefully in the next episode, so I don't have to do so many voiceovers and you get to hear me actually a lot more in-game footage, or that's the plan. At least that way you get my reaction real time. A lot of this has been just me voicing over, as you've probably noticed. Now, it was at this point I actually remembered that there was already a cache of explosives just outside of the metal tunnel. So decided, going to put in a path there, put a path to the dirt as well, and might as well put a path into the planks. And noticed there was actually a relic across there, I completely blanked it. It's also about time I actually start thinking about harvesting these dead trees here as well. Also decided to place a lumberjack flag, one here and one here, just to harvest up these trees. And once again, I'm going to start speeding things up here because I didn't really do an awful lot except from just go around exploring the map. I'll point things out as I notice them, just to sort of keep you up to date. But unfortunately, not a lot's happening, so we're just going to skip past it all. So just quick exploration up the top there. I kind of had the idea of going up that side. But in the long run, I don't actually do that, but you'll see what I do as we continue. Now, I wanted to see if there was any other caves or that, and end up coming across this unstable core as well, and then decided I want to start looking for other aquifer points. As you can see, there's loads to the right and sort of bottom right side of the screen as I go past there. And we'll do a quick Biffa autosave sip of tea. If you know, you know. If you know, leave a comment down below. And so at this point I also finally decide it's time to start working on the extra forestry and farming area. Hey, go me. So I'm going to place some paths in here, and that'll allow beavers just to get to all the areas without it giving me the whole district out of range. And finally start putting these explosives to good use. Yeah, I did do a 3x3 here, but decided it was probably a good idea to remove that little middle one, simply so the beavers could constantly access if I did want to keep going down a little deeper. Now I'm deciding to go 2 blocks deep here, just to let it last a little bit longer for when the drought hits. Hopefully it doesn't all evaporate too quickly. But as far as I'm aware, it's not exactly required. Apparently I was wrestling with the decision on where to place that fluid dump. Oh dear. Again, just spend some time having a little look about the colony. I also decided to remove these 2 scavenger flags for the metal as well, just since they'd have to go down to bad water to get the ruins anyway. And it was definitely a welcome sight seeing this extra patch of green, and as the water rises it'll expand further and further, which is just absolutely fantastic. I just love that mechanic in the game. I also went ahead and placed an efficient farmhouse in here in anticipation of eventually planting carrots just to convert into biofuel. I know there's no way of actually telling them to use like a specific amount of carrots to use as biofuel, but if I'm producing a lot more than what I need, then that's the idea behind it. Now I'm just quickly checking the refinery because I can't remember at this point exactly what can be turned into biofuel, so it's just what I'm doing here. And then struggling to navigate through the menu apparently. Before eventually settling on, let's put in some carrots. I decided to put in these platforms just as a way of actually getting power back and forth from the new industry section that I'm going to be putting in. Well, that's the plan anyway, because I do want to put in large windmills up the top across this little area. You'll see as I go on what I'm talking about, but that's the idea. I'm going to join up all these areas with the platforms, and then in time I'll actually run power shafts along them. That's absolutely wonderful seeing that water at maximum capacity and actually seeing plenty of carrots in there. And now it's time to actually start planting maple trees. So this should work as food, and then eventually we'll be able to set it up for catalyst as well. So it's kind of a win-win. And I'm near enough going to fill out this entire area and just stop there and add in a little path, because I want to maintain access to that little section there. Now I'm not going to lie, it was really nice actually seeing all these trees growing up, getting chopped. Just having a constant supply of logs is really going to be important for us going forward, especially we do have a couple of projects in mind. Along with adding the large windmills, but we've got some major projects in mind going forward, so we're going to need it. I'm also just going to add a tapper shack in here for the maple trees, and that'll more or less be us done in this area. Now that we have the extra farming all set up, it's about time we actually put in a refinery and get the biofuel that we've been talking about this whole entire time. So it's really going to be the start to our bot machinery side of things. We're going to start with the biofuel, make sure there's a decent supply of that, then we'll slowly work up to producing bots. I was thinking about going with 2 refineries to start off with, but I'll just leave it at 1. And then we'll put in a couple of small tanks just to store biofuel just now. We've obviously got no bots, so there's no major rush on biofuel. Now I know what you're probably thinking. I'm going to definitely need more power if I'm going to start getting into bots. And don't worry, that will be coming up very soon. We're going to start utilising the Badwater River. But first I do want to just get an extra house in here. Certainly seems like an idea just to... I don't want to increase the population massively. I just want to slowly bump it up a little bit extra. It's also worth noting that I've decided to keep this off the grass, and that is a massive change for me. And I do want to go ahead and add a large water storage here, just to keep it reasonably close to this housing. And it's good to spread out all your water tanks across your colony, that way your workers don't actually have to travel too far from their workplace to your water. Same can be done with food, and I end up doing that in places here and there. It was really funny just watching that plank storage just empty so fast. I always forget how long it actually takes them to remove those thorns. And we'll actually remember to hook up paths here, that'd be good for them. And for the moment you've all been waiting for, we are finally utilising this bad water stream and putting in water wheels. About time. I'll just dot them all up and down the stream, and then I'll go across and actually put in power shafts connecting them. I would also like to bridge over this power shaft just to allow easier access back and forth. I'm just going to speed up through this next little bit as I go around, connecting everything up and trying to come up with a sort of final plan for how I want it all to look. But I'll just quickly time-lapse it. Now I'm just going to start wrapping things up here. It's good to see that little extra bit of forestry and that little extra bit of power coming in. Got biofuel set up. I didn't manage to get to the bot stage just yet in this episode, but that will definitely be coming next episode. We're set up and ready for it, so there's no reason why we don't. I definitely will be pushing towards that. Definitely feels like the way to go. And I hope you enjoyed. If you did, stick around to the end of the episode here. Just let me know your favourite part. I know it was a little bit rushed. Next episode will be a bit better paced. I want to try and slow it down again just a little bit. I just wanted to cram a lot into this one episode. And yeah, that's more or less it. Now if you did enjoy, give me a like and a subscribe. I'm very happy that you spent your time with me, and I'll catch you in the next one.